Authorities have today confirmed the body found in a mountainous region of Tenerife is Jay Slater's. The Canary Islands High Court of Justice said the body was ID'd by fingerprints and that Jay had suffered multiple injuries. Jay's devastated mother, Debbie Duncan, said the confirmation was the worst news. She said, and I quote, "I just can't believe this could happen to my beautiful boy. Our hearts are broken." Authorities say Jay's death was due to trauma consistent with a fall in a rocky area. A helicopter was yesterday used to recover Jay's body in the remote Northwest Massacre Ravine. He had travelled to an Airbnb there with two men after a night of partying. After missing the bus, Jay attempted the 11-hour walk back to his own accommodation. He made a final call to friend Lucy Law to say he was lost, needed water and only had 1% phone battery. She today paid an emotional tribute, saying she was lost for words. Officials said documentation found with the body were Jay's. The full post-mortem results are not expected to materialise for a few days. Jay's mum, Debbie, earlier said she wanted to see her son for one last time. She, Jay's dad, Warren, and brother Zach remain here on the island. They are now hoping police can piece together what happened to Jay in his final moments.
For all those who loved Jay, this surely must be the news they'd been dreading for the last 4 weeks or so. And my real headline thought is that I suspect quietly and privately, the Guardia Civil will be saying to themselves, we had one working theory, we stuck to that, we worked on it as much as we could. We took the hunt away from the glaze of publicity by saying that it was over, continued it quietly, and sadly and tragically delivered a result. So I'm hoping that the post-mortem results will be conclusive, because that may give some tiny crumb of comfort to Jay's family and friends. But we knew from a very early stage, because his friend Brad had said when he spoke to Jay on the phone, it sounded like he was walking on gravel. We knew he had 1% of battery life left on his phone, no water, and of course the last ping from his phone was in and around the area where Jay's body has sadly been found. There may also, of course, have been other information that the police were privy to but did not make public. It is so often the case with major crime investigations and missing persons inquiries that the police are the very best informed, and they choose what information they will make public. It's as rare as hen's teeth for the police to make everything that they know or put it into the public domain. And I suspect in this situation, they probably were better informed than ourselves, the media, and the public at large. The Guardia Civil can look to the UK in some regards here and learn some lessons, particularly with regards to the allocation of a family liaison officer, which is commonplace in the UK with either a homicide or sometimes a high-profile missing person case. What that does is it facilitates a flow of information from the police service to the family of the victim or the missing person, and vice versa. It is a two-way process. And by keeping the family and loved ones in the loop, you can sometimes minimize the concerns that they might have about what's going on, what resources are being deployed, where is a search being carried out. And that in turn can also help with a flow of information to the media and the public. And on that note, I'd like to think that the Guardia Civil may take a look at how they handled the release of information here. Perhaps there was inexperience around the nature of the British media and the volume of interest that this case created, which was substantial. There was a Facebook page created which within days had 600,000 people subscribing to it. So there was a clear indicator of the appetite for the story that existed. And therefore, lots of journalists were sent out there, lots of copy was filed, and interest remained very high. Armchair detectives, internet sleuths, online investigators, and people who want to raise their profile by jumping on an aeroplane to Tenerife, or like certain people did, travelling to Lancashire with the Nicola Bulley investigation. These are all relatively new phenomena that are simply not going to go away. And there's going to be a huge emphasis now on police services to learn how to deal with this interest and with this input. We see the police sometimes in high-profile cases saying, please do not speculate, but that merely falls on deaf ears. The internet traffic and people who want to poke their noses in is not going away, and the police are going to learn how to have to deal with it rather than just wishing it would disappear. On the Spanish islands and the Spanish resorts down on the costas, there are a lot of nefarious characters who are involved in criminality of the most serious types. And I know that because I've spent a lot of time down there and met quite a number of these types of characters and their lackeys. Of course, with a situation like Jay's disappearance, there is going to be significant interest, but there's an old expression from the Murder Investigation Manual which should be applied in any kind of case which is not cut and dried, and that is think murder until proven otherwise. Because I think the Guardia Civil was seen to pursue one theory and one theory only at the exclusion of all else, and that they were very, very quick to say that the two men who had driven Jay from Playas de las Americas to Masca were, quote, not relevant, unquote. Many people were saying, well, how can they be so sure? Surely there should be some element of forensics carried out at the Airbnb apartment in Masca. And then when plainclothes officers are seen coming out of that apartment 2 weeks later with forensic overshoes over their day shoes, these kind of things just stir up the interest, fuel the gossip and rumour, and that in turn, of course, can add to the hurt and pain that the family and loved ones are suffering. I hope that Jay is repatriated and that his family will be able to lay him to rest and learn, as they will have to for the rest of their lives, to cope with the loss, which of course will always be forever present in their lives.